It's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. Be a part of the show by calling 915-544-KTSM, 915-544-5876, or comment online on our stream at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. It's 4 p.m. Mountain Time, and that means it's time to talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thank you for tuning in, however you may be doing so, be it on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the social media pages, including facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or the Twitch page, Andrew J. Polk. Either of those names, you'll find us in all of those places, plus, frankly, a few more, because the point is to have that conversation wherever y'all at, as we have Calvin Williams joining us over on the Facebook page right now, facebook.com/Talk El Paso. I guess I still consider that the main one, the kind of core of it, even though we've had that bit of fun with that whole platform lately, or more than lately, if I'm going to be honest here. That's why we're in a lot of places, so that we don't just have to deal with that platform. But that's where the Skeptic Squad lives. That's where you're going to get the conversation and constant disagreement, amongst other things. So, a lot of stuff to talk about here today. We'll be talking next segment also specifically with all the stuff that comes up with shopping around the holidays. We'll be talking means and what that's going to then build up for everyone here, including some other events that we do have coming up here, so stay tuned for that as well. In the meantime, we have a lot more, since we are in that election declaration season, when people are actually filing and doing the necessary paperwork to end up on the ballot. As much as I love third-party non-ballot challengers, I am not aware of a time in our local history anyway when someone who wasn't actually on the ballot did much of anything. This is not and therefore they're not worth anything. It's just, if you're not on the ballot, that's like the basis, because it's also not that hard to get on the ballot, either locally or in Texas in general. It's depending on the statewide-ness of the office, a few to I think $5,000, a little bit more at most, or a set amount of signatures. And locally, it's like in the order of hundreds of dollars. So it's not a huge barrier to entry, but it's kind of like the bar that you need to at least not trip over to get into it. So as all these filings are coming in, a lot of interesting things going with it. Some more analysis going on, of course, with those polls involving that statewide race that we're all going to be paying more attention to, that maybe even we want to. The whole Robert Francis Beto O'Rourke challenging the governor here, and some more analysis, particularly of the fundraising numbers. I was half right yesterday that it was the first day got in $2 million. So continuing that apace might get to anywhere near Abbott's numbers. That, of course, if Texas Governor Greg Abbott were to be standing still, frozen in carbonite here, which obviously not going to be happening. A lot of the issues coming up here, frankly, there are some very serious differences in these races that are more than a little bit apparent in all of this here, as we also have John Hurts and John Brausleton joining us over on the Facebook page. John Brausleton not optimistic about being out and staying safe while shopping. Yeah. It's always a good idea to know what you got going on around you, staying aware. We had that horrific incident happen in Waukesha the other day, so head on a swivel is almost always good advice, but particularly if you're ending up with an armload of stuff, or, even if you're not going out shopping, porch pirates, this is their definite season here. So, that's just one bit of it. But another one, we had a notable, nationally, Representative Louis Gohmert that announced his retirement from that position in office recently, has now announced that he is going to be another person throwing his hat in the ring for Texas Attorney General. So Ken Paxton facing increasing amounts of challenges to his position, going primarily on a variety of issues that he has going, but hopefully we'll be able to speak with him before too long, because we'd like to bring you the scope and scale and sweep of the candidates going on here. But just an interesting development there on these elections. So, we're going to go ahead and take that break early so that we can come back and talk more about particularly those local small business implications, because, 'tis the season. Black Friday is important for a whole lot of reasons, and even more so this year. So we're going to come back from that break, talk more about these issues and a whole lot more with the Small Business Administration office here in town. So stay tuned with more Talk El Paso. Again, comments over on the social media pages. Opening up the comments here just a little bit later. And more comments about the elections. All that, more coming up with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690. You know that I love talking about local, which is why we're having those conversations here today. But another thing I do to support local is by also doing it at all other times, which is why when I am looking particularly for that boost or just thirsty towards the end of the day here coming into the show, I reach for Clever Tea. KLEVRTEA, as in the stuff that you drink, because it's locally made, locally produced, and actually they're going to be having their kind of sneak peek grand opening coming up of their new location that's just south of I-10, specifically this Wednesday from 1 to 7 p.m. They're going to be having local snacks and drinks over at their location, and it is I've gotten a little bit of the tour there, so we'll have that exact address here for you shortly, because it's a good one to check out, and I love the benefits that I get from it, because it has just the right amount of caffeine for me that leaves me focused but not jittery, not hovering slightly above the ground as you can end up being. You can get it for yourself also by visiting their location when they have their sneak peek opening here on Wednesday, but you can also place your own order at any time by visiting clevertea.com. That's KLEVRTEA.com. Enter the code radio15 at checkout and get your discount on your next order and support local in as much as you can. That's clevertea.com. KLEVRTEA.com.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
I-10 eastbound starting at Hawkins. Expect slowing going up to Hunter. It's due to a crash that was at I-10 eastbound and Hunter earlier, and it's been cleared, but there's still residual delays going back to Hawkins. Also, watch for a wreck on Montwood eastbound at McRae, and another accident on Airway Boulevard northbound at Boeing. I'm Wendy Swanson. That's traffic.
This report is sponsored by Audible. Audible is the best place to listen for everything you're into, from comedy and motivation to popular podcasts and best-selling audiobooks. Right now, take advantage of a special holiday offer and save 60% on your first 3 months. Learn more and sign up at audible.com.
Sometimes love can be deadly. The Crazy in Love podcast digs into real-life stories of relationships that took a gruesome turn. Each week, explore a new case about murder in the name of love.
She was obsessed. She was a stalker. She wouldn't take no for an answer.
Overkill is an outward manifestation, the highest level of anger a human being can actually achieve.
Listen to Crazy in Love on the iHeartRadio app or wherever you get your podcasts. Brought to you by DuckDuckGo. Protect your privacy online for free with DuckDuckGo.
I love the holidays, but I don't love being roommates with my siblings again. That's why I skip all the screaming matches and stay at Red Roof, so I can truly celebrate and relax in my own comfortable, clean, affordable room. Pets stay free at Red Roof, so I can bring Fido and decompress after a long day of small talk with the family without breaking the bank. And this season, you can get up to 20% off. Book your own space at redroof.com.
If you are covered by Medicare and Medicaid, then El Paso Health Plus Medicare Advantage Plan offers great supplemental benefits designed specifically for El Pasoans, such as $3,500 a year in dental benefits, $300 in vision, and a quarterly OTC card with $250 to spend on health and wellness products. Plus, generous benefits for hearing, podiatry, home-delivered meals, and so much more. Plus, our new Get Fit benefit to keep you active and social, as well as our new Healthy Eats program. At El Paso Health Plus, we go the extra mile for our members because this is our home, and our local knowledgeable staff is here to help you get more benefits, more services, more from your health plan. If you are covered by Medicare and Medicaid, call us 833-742-3125 or visit ephmedicare.com. El Paso Health Plus, your local Medicare Advantage plan.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Another thing you can do to take control of your health is by staying on top of the latest medical innovations by tuning in every Saturday at noon to the Medical Hackers with Dr. Sandeep Rao. He's a board-certified vascular interventionalist that helps you navigate our complex medical system with healthcare hacks, think of them in the life hack kind of category here, knowing what to do to get the best result that you can out of the system and be an informed and savvy consumer of medical services. So that airs noon here on Saturdays on News Radio 690 KTSM. You can also submit your own questions to him ahead of future shows by emailing rao@medicalhackers.com. That's his last name, RAO@medicalhackers.com. Going to some more issues involving breast cancer screenings, and etc. this week. So be sure to tune in again Saturdays at noon, right after the El Paso History Radio Show, right here on News Radio 690 KTSM.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. A lot of stuff we're talking about here today, including elections and the local impacts. A lot of anticipation ahead of Black Friday this year, let's be perfectly honest. And I'll actually be out in the community this coming Black Friday at the Three Missions Brewery, which is on Socorro Road, just outside Loop 375, right past the Socorro Mission itself there, for their beer release and conjunction event supporting the Alzheimer's Association, Toys for Tots, and El Pasoans Fighting Hunger Food Bank, also brought to you by Thrive 915 and Just the Tip LLC and Three Missions Brewery. So I'll be there from about 5 till maybe early morning hours there with another great event happening out there from Thrive 915, part of our partners on this show as well. But in the meantime, again, kickoff of the whole small business season and business season at all. There's a reason they call it Black Friday, when businesses traditionally would get in the black, even if things are and continue to be different as we get to it. So joining us now to talk a lot more about that, we are joined by Dante Acosta, the District Director for the District Office of the Small Business Administration. Thank you very much for joining us today.
Thank you, Andrew. Thanks for having me.
Absolutely, because we've talked a lot about impacts on small business and what's coming up here. So Small Business Saturday is an effort that's been going on for some years now in order to focus on the impacts to small businesses, because Black Friday, big box stores, there's no lack of association there, even if that whole relationship has changed over the years. Anecdotally, when I was still doing TV work, went out to one of the malls and was waiting for the doorbusters to open up, and we were ready to go for that first 5 a.m. broadcast and the stores were already open, people were already going in and out. The mall was closed, quote unquote, but things have been changing for a minute now, and they continue to do so. But focusing on Small Business Saturday, this has been a rough couple of years at this point for small businesses in general.
Oh, that's right. And, one of the reasons why there's this particular focus and emphasis on small businesses every year is because of the fact that they're so vital to our economy. There's about 32.5 million small businesses in the United States. And when you look at the employees plus the owners, it represents about a little over half of our entire workforce. So, we always think of those big businesses, et cetera. They get a lot of the press, and of course they are able to, toot their own horn. But we'd like to continue to, tout the fact that the small business is the Main Street and the engine of Main Street. The SBA has been involved for 12 years. This is the 12th year. We've been involved since 2011 after its 2010 launch by American Express, and we're happy to be partners with them. So you're right. It is vital to the small business owner that people get out and participate this year.
Absolutely. There's been a lot of anecdotal situations. I've had friends whose businesses had to shut down over the past couple of years, and some that have just, talking with them now, been we have just barely held on. So it's almost more important than has been. It's always important, but it's up to, we kicked it up to 11 for this year, really. And so when it comes to, interacting with this and what happens with it, what, at least locally, can we talk about what this Small Business Saturday is going to mean?
Well, I can speak from myself. My wife and I and our family, we go out to eat. We like to buy things, just like anybody else. And it's always, sad when a small business goes under. You go to that favorite restaurant of yours, or the toy shop, or whatever it happens to be. That's why this particular year, after basically 2 years of a pandemic and the government shutting everything down and people being afraid to go out, vaccinations are up. People are a lot more confident. So it's vital, not just for the fact that they're going to maybe make a profit or make their profit this year by this particular weekend, but in many cases, if not most, it could be the difference between staying open and losing everything for a small family-owned business. And that's why, we're so proud to be able to do that.
So what does it actually mean for people who may have heard the term there and then, focused on it? What is it that you all focus on and help to do to boost this or make this better happen?
Sure. Well, if you look back since the pandemic started and the economic injury disaster loan, the EIDL loans, and the PPP, the Paycheck Protection Program loans were rolled out. They were primarily focused on small business. So if you look at the fact that that's basically determined as 500 employees or under, and there's various ways of looking at that formula, but that's basically it. The SBA has stepped in, and actually we've done more business. We did more business in a few months than we did in 40 years worth of our existence.
Wow.
So it's really, it's pretty mind-boggling, the amount of work that went into it and the amount of effort that, the prior administration and of course the current administration, now they're looking to expand that with Build Back Better, et cetera. It's very important that we all take a moment and realize that, our neighbor owns that small restaurant. Our neighbor owns that, whatever it is, soccer shop or what have you. And that if we can just put a little more effort into that place, that location, that small business, this Saturday is particular focus, but also remember them for the rest of the year.
Oh yeah.
And of course the rest of this year, we will then be able to help those small businesses. And that's the emphasis of the Small Business Administration. We didn't make loans to giant corporations. At least there were obviously errors here or there, but for the most part, it went to small mom and pops that needed the money to stay afloat. And that's why, I'm so proud to be involved with an organization such as the SBA that really focuses on small business.
And so certain ways people can participate is by, again, obviously going to their local small business. I mean, there are certain hashtags like shop small to share that, get that out there and, sharing it and amplifying that. But at the same time, one of the conversations that has kind of come out of all of this with whatever is going on with the supply chain at any particular point is the idea that some people have been saying that, things that are made in America don't have to get stuck on container ships, but to an even further extent, when you're buying local, you are at the end of the supply chain at that point with what they have in stock.
That's correct. And I think being flexible for all of us is an important factor. If you can order something from that small business, get them, going, and then, maybe wait for it if you have to. That's still a very important thing for us all to do. And you're right when you talk about the supply chain. There were a lot of disruptions in it, obviously worldwide, but so many of the things that we can get from our local, most, but a lot of our food comes locally, particularly here in this region. We like our peppers and our chilies, etc. I joke, but you look at things like that. If you can just once in a while say, I'm not going to go to the big box restaurant, if you will, and big chain restaurant, and go into the small mom and pop, whether it's a pizza place, Mexican restaurant, or Chinese restaurant or what have you. That's going to make the difference in a lot of cases between them making it another week and making it another week. So we at the SBA want to make sure that we focus on that. I encourage folks to go to sba.gov to our main website. And of course, you can look for locations for our location. There's also a disaster loan center here. So if people already have these loans, that's the location that you'd actually want to speak to. Certainly, if you get it to me, I'll forward it on to somebody. But we want to make sure that people go to the SBA.gov website first.
Given what happened and the impact we saw to local businesses, I mean, I've heard various different, analyses of it. I mean, how many of those, call whoever, yellow signs that popped up in front of shopping centers? Is there any kind of scope or a rough estimation of what we kind of saw with local business? I mean, everyone knows at least one, probably on their way to work or, in their neighborhood or something that took that hit and either reduced or is gone now. I mean, there's more than a couple that I can think of that are just not available that I am sad about. But is there has there been any measurement, at least within the local region? Because the SBA office here doesn't just cover El Paso, it covers a decent swath of this part of the country, right?
Absolutely. I like to say we're west of the Pecos River, all the way down to Big Bend. So 10 western counties is our purview. Obviously most of that's going to be in El Paso County.
Right.
But to your point, I wish we had that kind of granular data at this point. We don't. That usually takes a year or two, or in this case, maybe even longer, because of people working from home and remotely and all that. A lot of that data is going to come later, and a lot of that is actually broken down not just by government and certainly federal government, but state, local governments, different organizations like chambers of commerce, regional chambers of commerce, and of course our universities, etc. So a lot of that more granular, how many businesses went out of business, how many were started and didn't make it. I want to focus on the positive, as I know you do. I've listened to your show quite a bit. We want to make sure that we're focused on this island, if you will, out here in the Southwest of the United States. We're basically 4 or 5 hours from anywhere, right?
Yeah.
I mean, in any other big city. So if we can really focus in on here, and yes, our large retail partners are, vital at times. But if we can all just make that little extra incremental effort to go out and try to patronize a small or smaller business, even a mid-size, or some of us would consider a large business, many of those fall into the category of small businesses. And they do employ a significant number of El Pasoans and people in this part of the country.
Yeah, I mean, that up to 500 designation may seem large by a lot of measurements, but I mean, that can then be a significant contributor to, a neighborhood, a whole area, a whole sector of town out here. So again, refocusing on small business Saturday here, we're coming up on really the kickoff of the shopping season, but it already has been kind of going on a pace already. Frankly, even just throughout this month, ever since before October, frankly, I've been hearing from some businesses that they've been seeing upticks in their orders, upticks in, demand, and then starting to maybe run into some of those supply chain issues, frankly, as they're running out of their local stock. But when it comes to the average consumer and people who are, wanting to support this, and we've talked about the hashtags, we've talked about, the concept of it, what are you all expecting from this season, and what should people know to do?
Well, you did mention the fact that it seems like it's been going on a while. The Christmas decorations went up early this year. It seemed like they go early and early. Pretty soon, the 4th of July will be over and we'll be in Christmas. But, that just highlights and emphasizes the fact that this season is so important, the season of giving and goodwill, etc. So back to your focus on the small business, that's why, this particular year, it's the way I look at it, and from what I've heard and on the street and from local retailers and businesses, is that this is kind of their last chance for some of them. Again, don't want to be doom and gloom, but for some of them it really is. They've held out, they've gotten money from our from the PPP loans and the EIDL loans from the SBA, or they've used lines of credit, etc. This is kind of their opportunity to start to make that back. So as the vaccinations and consumer confidence has gone up, we're seeing more and more people out. And I encourage people to continue to do that, because we obviously don't want to wake up next January, February and go, there's nowhere to go except those aforementioned very large businesses. So that's why specifically the administration's focus has been on small businesses. And the administrator of the SBA has a real keen emphasis, particularly on a community like this, with underserved minority communities, women-owned, veteran-owned businesses. Those are all businesses that we focus on and have lots of resources that we can help either start or grow, expand their business, or recover in the case of the pandemic. So we're here to help.
So if people want to find any of that information, what are some of the better social pages or main pages to visit?
Again, I just encourage people to go back to sba.gov. There's lots of information there, lots of links that you can click on, and of course, some of our community partners, SCORE, that's the service corps of retired executives. They give free advice to small businesses. Our community college system, etc. The chambers of commerce, they're all there to assist, and they're all partners of ours, in this mission. So we're happy to partner with them.
Absolutely. Here, guest right now has been Dante Acosta, the district director for the Small Business Administration here in the west of the Pecos region here. So thank you very much for coming to talk with us about some of the details, some of the focuses, some of the impacts we've seen within our community from this whole situation, and what that means going forward here today.
My pleasure. Anytime you want to chat about small business, I'll be here.
Absolutely here. So we are due for a break right now. Coming back from the break, we're going ahead and opening up those phone lines. So that number to call is 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. taking those calls. So at the end of the hour, a lot of comments going on over on the Facebook page and social. We'll check on those in here in a minute. So stay tuned for more Talk El Paso here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Focusing on your health is important any time of year, but particularly with the holidays, you don't want to be missing out on whatever kind of celebrations you have planned, you have coming up, particularly when those day disruptors hit, those aches, those breaks, those sprains, bruises, sniffles, and a whole lot more. Keep that peace of mind in your back pocket, in the back of your mind, by knowing that Upper Valley Urgent Care is there, ready for you, whatever the holidays may bring this season, because they are open 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m., no appointment needed, walk-in basis. 20-plus exam rooms. Doc Carpenter and his team are ready to treat you for those minor medical emergencies, whatever it needs to happen, from that minor medical treatment all the way up to x-ray capabilities. They are celebrating their 15th anniversary this month. They've been doing it for a while, and they'll help you out. So visit them at 121 East Red Road, Upper Valley Urgent Care Center.
El Paso's News Radio 690 KTSM.
Hello, I'm Iraka Castillo with this KFOX 14 News Update. The availability of the COVID-19 blood infusion treatment at the hospitals of Providence has become a serious concern to many high-risk patients. District 1 City Representative and Mayor Pro Tem Peter Swarzbein brought the issue to the table at yesterday's City Council work session. Swarzbein spoke on behalf of a constituent who qualified for the treatment, but was told he'd have to wait 18 days for an appointment when you're typically supposed to register within 9 days of receiving a positive test. Hospital representatives said today that they're working to expand capacity to double the amount of infusions per day. The monoclonal antibody infusion treatment does require a physician's order for the appointment to be made. And since the border reopened to non-essential travel, the economy in downtown El Paso is bouncing back. David Coronado, the El Paso Managing Director of International Bridge and Economic Development, made the announcement as he appeared before City Council this week. I'm Iraka Castillo with this KFOX 14 News Update.
News Radio 690. Traffic all day.
I-10 westbound's a slow ride this afternoon from Geronimo over to Paisano, and then again slowing on the westbound I-10 from Mesa Street up to Artcraft. Watch for an accident on Montwood eastbound at McRae Boulevard and a medical emergency in West El Paso on Borderland east of Doniphan at Santiago. I'm Wendy Swanson, El Paso Traffic.
From the KFOX 14 Severe Weather Center, this is Chief Meteorologist Sandra Diaz. We've kind of been spoiled with these temperatures, but we're about to get a real cold push of some air moving in by Thanksgiving morning. So if you plan on heading to the parade, you might want to at least make sure you've got plenty of warm clothes on and blankets, because when the cold front moves in, we're talking about some strong winds with it as well. We're also looking at a change with light rain returning to the borderland.
This report is sponsored by Smart Mouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Opening back up. You check the news, you check with your friends, you check your mask. But wait, did you check your breath? Get Smart Mouth, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with just 2 rinses a day. Find Smart Mouth in the mouthwash aisle at Dollar General, or get 20% off at smartmouth.com/radio.
Hi, Phil Swift here. When that next storm is barreling down, get prepared with the Flex Seal family of products. Floods can destroy your home. Push Flex base deep into cracks and holes to help prevent flooding. Seal doors and windows, patch leaky roofs and downspouts. Remember, when that storm is coming your way, keep your family safe and dry. Be prepared with the Flex Seal family of products. Available at FlexSealProducts.com and fine retailers.
Audible is the best place to listen for everything you're into, from comedy and motivation to popular podcasts and best-selling audiobooks. Right now, take advantage of a special holiday offer and save 60% on your first 3 months. Learn more and sign up at audible.com. This report is sponsored by Audible.
Okay, let's settle down. Since today is career day, stand up and tell the class what you want to be when you grow up.
I want to be a pilot, soccer player, fireman, a judge.
Kids dream big. As a parent, you can protect those dreams by keeping your kids healthy well into adulthood. If your son or daughter is 11 or 12 years old, the American Cancer Society recommends giving them the HPV vaccine to help protect them from 6 types of HPV cancers later in life. To learn more, visit cancer.org/dreambig.
News Radio 690 KTSM.
Speaking of your health and the various impacts that can be impacting it, you want to make sure that you're staying on top of the preventative efforts, because literally an ounce of prevention is worth pounds or more, hours, days, months out of your life in order to deal with it. I had to deal with it in my own family. So keeping in mind what you can do to make sure that you're, really paying attention to those important issues, including breast cancer and more. There's another tool available in town to help you keep track of that, stay on top of it, and avoid or be better informed about future issues. So thermography, brought to you by Therapeutics and Thermography, Inc., which you can find at 935 Sunland Park Drive. They are continuing their $50 off all breast thermograms through the end of the year. So past this holiday and through the next ones, do the right thing for yourself, your family, and be informed about what it is. It's a technique that it's like a heat map for your body that can help detect the early stages of conditions like breast cancer and more before necessarily other screening methods can, that have to wait for further development. So again, find out for yourself by giving them a call at 915-401-4053. That's 915-401-4053, or log on to elpasothermography.com. That's El Paso, THERMOGRAPHY.com.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. Thanks for tuning in, however you may be doing so, on air, online, live streaming through the free and reliable iHeartRadio app, or joining us over on the various social pages, including Facebook.com/Talk El Paso, the Talk El Paso channel on YouTube, Twitter at Talk El Paso, or Twitch, Andrew J. Polk. Either of those names, any of those platforms, you can find us to be involved. Tune in, sit back and relax, and or get involved in the conversation, as we have a lot of people doing so over on the social pages, including Calvin Williams, John Hurts, John Brazelton, Tim Collins, Louis Pinato, Epifanio Yanni, Dan Morales, and more. So, one of the places, Edgar Ortiz, if I didn't already say that, also chiming in here. Talking about some of the impacts here, including our guests. Thank you to the Dante Acosta, the district administrator for the Small Business Administration in our area. Edgar Ortiz pointing out another issue, something he had with it, saying he is a small business owner. The service industry has really suffered from all these government handouts. I'm going to push back on you a little bit on that one, frankly, because he's talking about from this perspective, from their perspective as the Small Business Administration offering those loans to the businesses, but also the Great Resignation is what it has been called here. And I don't know if anyone's still living off that, the $1,400 or so here. I know that went into bills and debt for me, or keeping me out of it pretty immediately. So I guess I'm not too sure about that. And particularly with there being a whole lot of all the programs that were around with the expansion of unemployment benefits gone, but pretty much across the country at this point, or at least anywhere near our region. I'm not sure it's going to be that much of an impact from it, going to be perfectly honest here. But, it's a conversation worth having here. And Louis Pinato, as always, and not getting the concept of us having extended interviews, which we do on this show because no one else is in town. But we'll circle back to that later here. Talk El Paso also brought to you in part by Monterey Asset Management. If you're tired of the ups and downs of the stock market, consider investing in real estate. Monterey manages apartments in El Paso and helps investors buy, hold, and sell property. Check out their new website, m1ep.com. That's m1ep.com. To learn more about the many benefits and long-term appreciation of investing in real estate, call certified property manager Ray Baca at 915-592-4549. That's 915-592-4549. Thank you to our sponsors. Please support them as they support us in our mission to continue having live local talk radio here in the borderland. So as a part of that, we do have the phone lines open now through the end of the hour. That number to call, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Touched a little bit on some of these elections developments and the idea between them. Just to circle back to that governor's race, there was a good comment that came in a little bit earlier I had missed during the segment here. But it was Tim Collins saying that all right might be the dark horse for governor. He's got half a month left to do that filing. I believe December 13th is the end of the window. So we'll see. I want it to happen, if only because that would be a hell of a race to watch here. Though I'm at a certain point, I'm kind of over celebrities running based on the fact that they're celebrities for any office, it would still be more entertaining than not. And sometimes, heck, we need that in politics in general. I'm not going to lie. Get more people paying attention here. But so get into those phone lines again, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. We'll go to the lines here right now. You're live with Talk El Paso. Who's this?
Ben in the east side.
Hey there, Ben. What's on your mind?
Well, I believe I know now why there's so many people dying in El Paso from COVID. Last night on Fox Local News at 9, and just what I heard on the radio just a minute ago, they repeated it. They had a report about monoclonal antibodies. They started out by saying that somebody was having problems getting a monoclonal infusion after 18 days of trying to get scheduled. The report and Porter, as I heard just now, said that you're supposed to get registered for an appointment within 9 days of getting a positive test. That info is wrong. And then to follow up, Angela Mora last night, the director of El Paso Public Health, and Jorge Rodriguez, director of El Paso Office of Emergency Management, said that we're expanding their services to 7 days a week and that they were trying to get more equipment and personnel to manage the infusion facilities. But they failed to mention that access to the infusion has been greatly reduced by Joe Biden's insistence on an equitable distribution and giving more supply to blue states, hence not El Paso. Monoclonal antibodies work best when given early, at least 5 days of first symptoms. So our medical directors and news reporters should be saying that at the first sign of symptoms, you should get tested with a rapid test. If negative, you should follow up with a PCR test. If you are positive, you need to get the infusion for monoclonal antibodies as soon as possible. They do not work at later stages of the disease.
Nope.
But good luck on getting the drug within the time frame to work successfully. In my opinion, and based on the research that I have done, I believe the community leaders and local media are not giving us life-saving information.
I mean,
what do you think?
I think you hit on a lot of important points there. I mean, part of the difference between right now and where we were about a year ago, when I was having some conversations with people that I knew that ended up getting these infusions, amongst other things, is that it was still more experimental at that point, less having been used now for better part of a year. And we had gotten a specific supply sent to this area because it was about this time last year that we were starting to see our whole spike that led to all the reporting that happened from outlets from around the country here. So it was a specific supply we were sent both by the governor and by the administration at the time. So it's a slightly different situation now, and we're still doing pretty good. But that also then, I mean, us having the rates that we have, and even though there's been some of that reporting about, you know, what's going on with the averages going up or whatever, we're still in a pretty good situation overall. I feel pretty confident in saying that. So I don't think we're getting as much. Now, to the further political analysis, I don't necessarily doubt you there, but if that's the calculus that's being done, that I have a lot of issues with that. But what political calculations are you talking about? The whole red versus blue state and where the supply is being sent thing that you mentioned. Yeah, that's what Biden did. It was a matter that Ron DeSantis started talking about monoclonal antibodies back in August. And right after that, Joe Biden said that he was going to take away the supply from not the complete supply, but a large amount of the supply from red states like Texas and Florida and give them to blue states because he wanted a more equitable distribution. Although they could, if they wanted to, have plenty of monoclonal antibody infusions available if they would just, make them up. But they won't because they want people to die. Not going to follow you quite on that last part here, but again, if that is the calculus happening there about making sure that it's equally distributed as opposed to where it's actually needed, issues there for sure. We're already due for that next break here, so coming back out of the break, we'll get to more of those calls and comments on the line here. Again, that number to call, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Also, some of those pound 250 calls and more back after this break, along with Facebook comments and social media in general. After this break with more Talk El Paso here on News Radio. if you've been wondering if your central air system is doing what it needs to, you've probably gotten a couple of answers this past couple of weeks, but you can still get a definitive answer on what your system is, how it's working, and what upgrades can or need to be done it by calling the air conditioning company at 915-842-8615. That's 915-842-8615. If your unit's more than 20 years old, you deserve to have it looked at, frankly, because the safety measures that may be in place with the efficiency that it may, or in this case, may not have, given all the factors that we talk about, including supply chain issues, including safety, peace of mind, if you're having gatherings in your home, you want to make sure it's working right. So give them a call. Again, the air conditioning company at 915-842-8615, or log on to airconditioningcompanyllc.com. That's airconditioningcompanyllc.com.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
I-10 westbound moving slowly from Geronimo over to Paisano, and then slow again from Mesa Street over to Artcraft. Watch for a crash on Montwood eastbound at McRae Boulevard. You could take Yarborough or Wedgwood as your alternates. Then a medical emergency in West El Paso at Borderland, east of Doniphan at Santiago. I'm Wendy Swanson, El Paso Traffic.
This report is sponsored by SmartMouth, the only 24-hour mouthwash with twice daily use. Opening back up. You check the news, you check with your friends, you check your mask. But wait, did you check your breath? Get SmartMouth, the only mouthwash that provides 24 hours of fresh breath with just 2 rinses a day. Find SmartMouth in the mouthwash aisle at Dollar General, or get 20% off at smartmouth.com/radio.
I love the holidays, but I don't love being roommates with my siblings again. That's why I skip all the screaming matches and stay at Red Roof, so I can truly celebrate and relax in my own comfortable, clean, affordable room. Pets stay free at Red Roof, so I can bring Fido and decompress after a long day of small talk with the family without breaking the bank. And this season, you can get up to 20% off. Book your own space at redroof.com.
Help the planet with a tip from iHeartRadio Earth. Education doesn't just take place in the classroom. There are many ways for children of all ages to learn about sustainability and environmental education at home. Visit iHeartRadio.com/Earth for a list of resources, activity guides, and toolkits that are educational and fun for the whole family. Brought to you by iHeartRadio Earth and the National Environmental Education Foundation. To find more tips for smarter, sustainable living, or to take action in your own community, go to iHeartRadio.com/Earth.
Now may be the perfect time to buy a home financed by Loan Depot. Loan Depot has over 300 loan products to help you make home ownership a reality. Interest rates are near historic lows. Rates will not stay low forever. So call 866-888-LOAN so one of our thousands of loan officers can help you find the right loan. Call 866-888-LOAN or visit loandepot.com. Loan Depot. Rates are subject to change. Equal housing opportunity lender. NMLS number 174457. Licensed in all 50 states.
Are you covered by Medicare and Medicaid? Well, El Paso Health Plus is the plan for you. As a local Medicare Advantage plan, we can offer our members more. Call us at 833-742-3125 or EPHmedicare.com. El Paso Health Plus.
Audible is the best place to listen for everything you're into, from comedy and motivation to popular podcasts and best-selling audiobooks. Right now, take advantage of a special holiday offer and save 60% on your first 3 months. Learn more and sign up at audible.com.
Monterey Asset Management, superior multifamily property management services citywide.
News Radio 690, KTSM El Paso.
Live from the KTSM AM 690 studios, it's Talk El Paso with Andrew J. Polk. To be a part of the show, call 915-544-KTSM or follow on Facebook at facebook.com/Talk El Paso. Now here's your host, Andrew J. Polk.
Thank you all so very much for joining us here for Talk El Paso, airing live on News Radio 690 KTSM. I'm your host, Andrew J. Polk. A lot of ways you can interact with the show by calling in right now through the end of the program, 915-544-5876, 544-KTSM. Got to get that area code in there these days, 915-544-KTSM. We also got those pound 250 calls. Get to one of those here in just a second. Comments on the social media pages, a lot of them coming in here, a lot of different perspectives. Love the marketplace of ideas that we sometimes get around here. And just as a reminder, we're going to be doing our free-for-all tomorrow ahead of the holiday, because we'll be out of the office a couple of days after that for the holiday and Black Friday events and such. So tomorrow is the day when we will take those comments throughout the show. So be prepared if you are going to indulge in such a thing about that. So, a lot of stuff we're talking about here today, including some of the politics stuff, some of the small business stuff, all of these aspects swirling around us right now. Whatever you may think about organizations, administrations, etc., involved in these issues, just do your shopping this holiday season, particularly starting on Black Friday, which refers to, as someone was questioning, the being in the black as opposed to in the red for the year when it comes to ledger books here. So don't at me on that. But just consider the small business. Any location that you're thinking of, that was you're thinking in your back of your mind like, oh, I love that place, even though I never go to it, kind of thing. Don't just assume it's still going to be there. I've seen an increasing amount of restaurants, particularly, that have managed to make it through to this point now, saying we are on that razor's edge of not being there anymore. So don't take it for granted. Even some ones that have been a major part of my life, hearing from their owners that, yeah, we are barely still here. We've made it through, but some of them saying we're not out of the woods yet. So just keep it in mind. Soapbox over. Getting calls on the line. We do have Al in the Northeast right now. Al, thanks for joining us.
Yeah, thank you for taking my call again, Andrew. I wanted to make a couple of quick points here about Beto, Bozo, O'Rourke, who thinks he's going to get a lot of traction in Texas by running a major platform against the Second Amendment. Maybe in this area, I don't know, but the larger point is that he's getting away with what most Democrat politicians do, and he's not going to be vetted. Let's look into his background, for example. Check what he did with the money that he raised last time he ran, and let's get some of these things out so the public can really see who these candidates are. I mean, by the way, what happened to Bozo's appointment as the gun czar under Biden? Whatever happened to that?
Yeah, that definitely didn't happen.
Well, anyway, I think that he's just going to drown in Texas, which I hope. But it's going to be almost amusing to see hear his lies and his typical Democrat bull.
I mean, I think it'll be okay. I'm not going to lie. I'm excited for this campaign season, but then again, poli-sci major, I live for this kind of stuff here, so I'm weird that way. I will freely admit, which is why I also, with a heavy dose of Schadenfreude included in it, love the idea of McConaughey throwing his hat into the ring, even if reality, it might be a laugh as to keep from crying kind of situation. But you bring up a good point there about trying to bring down a national campaign to the state level. And, okay, whatever you may think about Ted Cruz, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, whatever your opinion about him is, just in terms of popularity levels between him and, particularly at that point in time, back in whatever that was, a couple of years ago, it's all a blur from this standpoint, and the governor, Greg Abbott, currently, there's a significant difference there. So trying to do the same thing in the same way in the same place, not sure if at least hasn't been avowed, the whole going to every county again kind of thing. Would be kind of surprised if they did with the O'Rourke campaign. But to a larger degree, this is a very different race with very different issues and very different baggage coming into it. So I don't really know exactly what a lot of the thinking is. I was frustrated as heck in just the lead up to it. And just announce, we all know you're running. Don't wait. All you're doing, if you're really going to be serious about this, is giving your opponent more time to wind up the punches with you. And there's just been a flurry of advertising coming out of the Abbott campaign. You don't even know. Those first two ads that came out ahead of the announcement, that's a bad sign, just to begin with, for any campaign, that it's so obvious and yet you haven't done it yet, that your opponent is already producing and running ads against you. Just that's a bad sign. But I mean, yeah, you're very right about the whole national points and then trying to bring them down to the state level. It doesn't work that way. And frankly, to a larger point about El Paso politics, that's one of the reasons I think we're so disengaged here, is because people aren't bringing up the local issues in some of these races, or the parties aren't for the most part, and they are then letting the national talking points take point, which engages some people, but not a whole lot, clearly, in our area.
Well, I just don't want him to pull the same Democrat and, like you say, the National Democratic Party tricks, and think he's going to get away with it, because I think the American public is finally starting to wake up to these lying fools.
I mean, I think that in any way you slice it, it's going to be a very interesting campaign season, and I'm looking forward to it in that kind of sick way that I do. So thank you for those comments. I do appreciate it. All right, thanks a lot there. We'll close out here with one of those pound 250 calls. Again, pound 250, keyword Talk El Paso. Leave your own comment. It cuts out at about 2 minutes and puts it into multiple parts. So want to leave your comment in a similar way, you can do so by, go again, pound 250, keyword Talk El Paso. Leave your own message like this.
Good afternoon, Andrew. This is Barbara on the West Side. I was just sitting here thinking how much I appreciated the mean tweets that we heard from President Trump. I'd much rather hear mean tweets and know we have a president in the White House that worked for every American, every policy he passed, every executive order he signed was for all of America, unlike President Biden. And I was thinking about the infrastructure bill that they just passed, especially about the electrical vehicles. If you recall, he invited GM and Ford and other automakers to the White House to discuss his goals for the electric vehicle industry. And he noticeably left out Elon Musk. Of the 15 million vehicles that were sold last year, only 3% were electrical vehicles. Of the 3%, Elon Musk vehicles, Tesla vehicles, were 85% of those vehicles. Why would he leave Elon Musk out of those meetings? Because it was very strategic. Biden keeps saying in this infrastructure, everything that's in there is for union workers. Why is he dividing the country now, union versus non-union workers? That's just deplorable, and it's just reprehensible that a president would do that to our country. And the next thing I was thinking about is now, after they've let in thousands, hundreds of thousands of illegal immigrants, they're sending 78,000 court appearances, notices to the illegals they let in. So now I'm wondering just how many are going to receive those court orders and how many are going to appear. What did he do there? He divided illegals versus legal immigration. Again, he's working and not thinking of every citizen of the United States of America, but rather a few. And that's how he works everything that he's doing.
We're going to consider that the kickoff for, again, the free-for-all that we'll be doing tomorrow, taking on any subject throughout the hour, though we still have some FCC standards. So thank you, everyone who did tune in, call in, comment, be a part of the show here today. Do it again tomorrow, then we'll be off a couple of days after that for the holiday. So get those pound 250 calls in now, get ready for the show tomorrow, and we'll see you all then. More comments, a whole lot more issues. We'll break it all down for you tomorrow right here on News Radio 690 KTSM. Look twice for motorcycles now on the road, and have a great evening, y'all. See you tomorrow. Now for your Medicare Moment with Eric with Advocate Health Advisors. Tell me a little bit more about Advocate Health Advisors.
So Advocate Health Advisors is veteran-owned and operated with over 16 years experience in our Medicare field. What we do is we assist Medicare-eligible veterans and their spouses with the understanding and coordination of their benefits through Medicare with their military benefits. This helps with potentially adding extra benefits to their already robust military benefits, most of the time at no additional cost.
And for more info, you can call Eric, your local advisor, wherever you're hearing this broadcast at 1-800-876-0214. That's 1-800-876-0214.
Traffic all day. News Radio 690.
I-10 eastbound from Artcraft down to Mesa, it's a slow ride, and also in the other direction, I-10 westbound from Mesa up to Artcraft. A collision on Stanton Street south of Paisano at 7th Avenue. Take Campbell or Delta as your alternates to get around it, and watch for a medical emergency in West El Paso. It's on Borderland east of Donovan Drive at Santiago. That's a look at your traffic.
In 50 feet, turn left. Why are you driving so slowly?
After a few drinks, I'm taking it slow.
Well, you're not fooling the cop behind you.
What?
Get ready to pay in 0.1 miles.
Getting pulled over for buzz driving could cost you around $10,000 in fines, legal fees, and increased insurance rates. Nothing kills a buzz like getting pulled over for buzz driving, because buzz driving is drunk driving. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
News on the hour and a half. Traffic and weather all day.
I don't watch television, so I get all my news from you.
News Radio 690. KTSM. News on the hour and a half. Traffic and weather all day. News Radio 690 is KTSM AM El Paso, an iHeart radio station.
And
NBC News Radio, I'm Brian Shook. A sixth person is dead following the Wisconsin Christmas parade rampage. Reports say an 8-year-old boy has died from injuries. The news comes as Darrell Brooks, the man accused of driving his SUV through parade route barriers in Waukesha, was in court today. The judge said he's being charged with several counts of intentional homicide and other charges.
First-degree intentional homicide regarding victim B is a Class A felony. Again, the maximum possible sentence is a sentence to imprisonment for life.
Brooks has a lengthy rap sheet and was out on bond when the incident took place. President Biden is confronting the rising cost of gas. Speaking at the White House, he noted he's tapping into the nation's vast oil reserves and warned it will take time to have an impact on gas prices. He also stressed that fighting climate change is not raising the price of gas. Jury deliberations are underway for 3 white men accused of killing Ahmaud Arbery in Georgia. The prosecution argued Arbery was chased and murdered without justification while jogging in a neighborhood last year. The defense claims he was killed in self-defense when he resisted a citizen's arrest. Those involved in the deadly 2017 Unite the Right rally in Charlottesville, Virginia, are being found liable. Lisa Taylor has more.
The rally was sparked by a decision to remove a statue of Confederate General Robert E. Lee. It resulted in violence and the death of Heather Heyer, who was ran over when a car slammed into counter-protesters. There are big financial penalties involved as they were found liable for civil conspiracy under the law of Virginia. That includes a $1 million judgment against 5 white nationalist groups.
Apple is suing an Israeli firm known for hacking into iPhones at the request of a government. The NSO group that's being taken to court sells software to governments, which then allows the iPhones to be hacked. You're listening to the latest